Hi, welcome to Connectors Get Paid podcast. I'm your host, Joe Mindak, and today we're here to talk about networking, community, and the power of connection, right? And my guest today is Joshua Milne, and he is from Joshua Milne PR. Does a great job with us, helping us get our word out there, and we want to have him on today to talk about what he's doing. So, Josh, give us a little bit about your PR company and what you do.
Joe, thank you very much for having me on your podcast today. I'm really excited to be here. As you asked, Joshua Milne PR, I've been doing the business for the last 14 years. I handle all the kind of things that a normal PR person does: content development, strategy, supporting awards, speaking opportunities, and other projects. The most important thing that I do, though, is I help my clients with earned media coverage. What does that mean? It means I secure media coverage on the following kind of platforms, if you will: print, TV, radio, online, or podcast. Lastly, kind of the areas that I work, the industries I work, include B2B tech, B2C tech, sports biz, sports tech, kind of food, consumer, and nonprofit. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome, Josh. And listen, when we started talking, I mean, you were a member of the community, but when we started talking, you said, how can you help us? What kind of attracted you to the idea behind Connectors Get Paid? The whole idea that we're saying, listen, everyone in the networking world should start getting paid, whether you're a connector, whether you're running a community, we're all doing this networking or referring business to each other. We should all kind of be getting paid for it. So what, like when we asked you to help us, like what kind of attracted you to get on board with us?
Absolutely. I think the most important thing is what you noted. It is kind of the value of connectors getting paid. I think at a lot of networking groups, you will see that there are a couple of kind of heavy hitters or people that have a strong network. And it seems like they're the ones that were always making the intros. But I always felt frustrated, that they would make a ton of intros, and then a couple months later would get frustrated, burnt out, and leave because they weren't seeing the value. People weren't reciprocating on that. And I thought it was a great opportunity when you guys were talking about, yes, if you make an intro and a deal gets made, someone should be compensated for that. They're taking their time, their resources, their network, which they've built up. And because of that, they should be compensated if a deal is brought together.
Right. And I think a lot of people are frustrated with that because I know I was always giving the most referrals out, and all of a sudden I give 5 referrals to somebody and I got nothing back. And I'm like, well, now if I'm getting paid for it, hey, Josh, I'll keep that flywheel going for you. I'll keep sending you business because at least I know I'm getting paid. So, what was like a big, like in your networking world, right? I've always been a networker. What was like a big deal you remember, a story that when you were networking that you either made an introduction or got an introduction that led to something really big, a job, a deal, something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things I've always done is it's important to keep networking and speaking with people over the months, over the years, because you never know when a deal is going to take place. I had a client contact who I worked with back in 2009, 2010, who I've kept in contact. She's works in the sports world and she's moved from job to job. And last year, randomly, she reached out to me because she's now working with the LPGA, the Women's Golf Association, and they needed help at a tournament up in Massachusetts. She recommended me specifically because every twice a year, I just send her a quick email, check in, see how she's doing, tell her what I'm doing. She remembered me, recommended me to their PR team. And because of that recommendation, I was the only person they interviewed for this job, and I got it because of that.
Right. Yeah. So I think a lot of people forget that this network isn't someone you know today or tomorrow in your group, and then if you're gone, you're like forget about it. You got to keep in contact with these people. You got to keep doing the right thing, help them out a little bit, and it's going to come back to you. I've had deals come back years later, like you said, that just fell into my lap because of something I did or someone I kept in contact with or tried to help out in the past and things like that. So, yeah. So what's a good time when you created value for somebody else? Like, do you remember any time where you introduced somebody that landed a big deal because of your introduction?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times when I try to make introductions, I want to know that the person I'm introducing is really going to provide value. I want to always make sure that if I'm making an intro, someone absolutely knows that the person I'm making an intro for is going to do really good work. And I think for me, one of the things is I continue to introduce my web designer to my other clients. My web designer did really good work for me for my websites. And because of that, I've now introduced him to 3 or 4 people, two who are still working with them, another person that might want to work with them as well. And I think though, one of the things though, and Joe, we've discussed is that along with networking, it's the importance of providing value and coming through, right? So when someone makes an intro for you and you now working on a deal, you want to make sure you do really good work so that you feel comfortable introducing that person to other people in the future.
Right. Like, and I think people forget that when you're making intro, and especially if they know you're a good person to make connections, like they should really step up their game on those deals, right? Because they want the next one. Getting a referral to someone in business, if you do a great job, make them look good, they're gonna want to keep sending you that business back. And one of the things we preach, and because we preach about connectors getting paid, like if you do a good job and recommend somebody well, that client's going to come back to you for a bunch of other stuff. So if you're able to refer business to a bunch of people in your group because that first person did a really good job, I have a guy that comes back to me. He's come back to me 6, 7 times already because the first person I introduced to in my group that did an awesome job for him, he's like, Joe, thank you for introducing me to Mike. Hey, now I need this. Now I need that. Right. And every time he calls me for this or that, we're getting paid now because we're paying for those referrals. So the first person I introduced him to 2 years ago, I still make money on a quarterly basis from that introduction from 2, 3 years ago. And he just calls me for everything else. So yeah, if you're ever getting a referral from somebody, make sure you get back to them. I think part of the problem is people don't get back to people right away. I had somebody that 3 weeks later said, "Hey, Joe, I reached out to so and so the other day." I go, "Wait, the person I introduced you to 3 weeks ago? That guy's forgotten about you." Like he even if he mentioned my name, he's like, "What did Joe say?" Whatever. Like you got to do that. So make sure, yeah, that's a big thing in networking to make sure you're getting back to people and making you, Josh, look good because you're going to keep sending that guy business. So that's a big thing.
Yeah,
Any
Joe,
other?
can I bring up? I'm sorry, I want to bring up an
Yeah.
item because that's so important what you said. And it's so interesting is that when you go to networking events or you meet someone and someone wants to talk to you or wants to have another conversation with you, I'm always surprised when I give my information, they say they want to reach out and I never hear back from them. And I think that is so important. And I want to reiterate that what you said, that when you make that introduction, 24 hours later, you really need to get back to the person. It's top of mind. Maybe no business is going to come out of it. But as you noted, if you wait more than a couple days, they've forgotten, they've moved on, and also they don't think you're interested and you don't
Right.
want it because you haven't spent the time.
Yeah, and I don't know if people are afraid to be pushy or whatever, but I went to a networking event last week. I had this guy standing alone, so I feel bad for people that are standing there. You've been we've all been in that situation. I walk right over. Hey, man, you're by yourself. Hey, so am I. What do you got? What are you doing here? I'm here networking. What do you do? I'm an accountant. Oh, you know what? We're looking for a new accounting firm for my charity that we're looking for someone to do audits, right? Specifically audited financials, and not everyone does that. He goes, "That's what I do." I go, "Great, man. Listen, here's my card. Call me." And I waited to see if he was going to call me. And the first thing the next morning, he reached out to me. And that's a test. I don't think people realize that we're testing you. Like, and if you don't respond, right? There's another guy, there's a lawyer there. I was like, "Hey, man, I do a lot of stuff. Give me a call, whatever." The next 2 days later, I think he just reached out to me on LinkedIn and connected with me. No, like, hey, let's do stuff. I'm like, I'm telling you, I got some work probably that we do a lot. And so he's out of my book. The other guy did a great job. He first thing in the morning, 9 a.m. Hey man, just want to follow up on our thing. That's a guy I want to work with because I know he's responsive to that. He's going to be responsive to that with my clients and stuff. Um, so listen, we only got a few more minutes here. What's a community you've been a part of, and you can't say ours, that you really love that's worked out for you in the past or present that you're a part of?
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started my business and went on my own, I was living up in Massachusetts, and there was a great kind of just, I don't even know if an official community name, but a community of PR professionals that were solopreneurs or work for themselves. And there was a group of 5 to 6 women who have been in the industry for many years working for themselves, and they were amazing in offering advice and counsel as I built my business. Things to watch out for, things to learn if
Mm.
I was having challenges with clients, how to handle that. And for me, I know for a fact that if I didn't have that group of people that I could bounce ideas off of, and occasionally, yes, they brought me some business, but if I didn't have that, I know I wouldn't be where I am today. And I still
Right.
reach out to them and thank them all the time because I'm eternally grateful for what they offered for me when I was trying to start my business.
Right. And I listen, I'm a networking guy, so we run networking groups and stuff, but being part of another group like a peer advisory group, I just joined one at 53 years old after owning 7 businesses and thinking I know everything. I just joined a group to sit there, and last night we had our meeting, and I'm learning from these other people that are experts in other things, right? So if you're a younger company out there just starting out, you're like, hey, I'm a new entrepreneur, I just started my business, like get into one of those groups of people that have done PR before, that have done marketing, have done whatever your industry is, and people from disparate industries, because they could give you tips on marketing if you're a PR guy or a finance guy or whatever. They could give you tips on what their expertise at. It's so helpful to have a peer group to do that. So I would suggest either like Entrepreneurs Organization has a great thing called Forum, Speakeasy Mastermind, which is what I'm part of now, is a great group. We meet on a monthly basis, and there's a bigger, larger group. There's a lot of groups out there. You don't always have to network, but you do get business from these groups. It's just natural, but it's not all about the networking where, on our end, connectors get paid. Yeah, we're all about networking and paying each other. So, well, listen, Josh, this was awesome as always. It's been great working with you. You've got us so much PR and so much press out there. We're really impressed, and thank you. And we're getting the word out there. Connectors get paid is our mantra. Like, we want everyone out there saying, "Hey, I'm a connector. I hear these groups. We have a bunch of communities on now that are all paying their members, right? So if you're a member of a group, you should raise your hand and say, "Hey, I hear there's groups out there paying me." Or if you're running a group, here's a way to monetize your group outside of just getting dues and that's all you get. No, your people are networking, they're sending each other referrals. Let them get paid for the referrals and you take a little cut. It's okay. Everyone's okay with it. Let's all help each other. We have these networks that we've built up over the years. Let's all help each other get those networks going and get business for each other. And everyone's happy to give a little bit of a referral fee to do that, right? Everyone's happy to do that. So yeah, thanks everyone for being part of the Connectors Get Paid podcast and our guest Josh. And Josh, where do people reach you if they want to talk to you?
Yeah, absolutely. The best way is you check my website, which is my full name, just www.joshuamilnepr, or they can email me at josh@joshuamilnepr, and would love to talk with anyone that have any questions or challenges with PR. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks everybody. Keep connecting.